Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's training on the new DIR website. This is going to be a general session for all of our different types of customers. We have a lot of attendees today, so I'm going to give it a couple more minutes for everybody to join. But yeah, thanks again for joining. We should be getting started very soon. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Again, my name is Tony Tran. I work in the Contract Services Division at DIR. Today with me, I have Lynn Hottie, Desiree Brown, and Teresa Williamson. We will be walking through the website that we launched on September 1st of this year. We're excited to have our customers use it. We think it's a lot more efficient, and we think it has a lot more features than our last website, and the layout is a lot better than it used to be. We're going to go through a few housekeeping items before I get started on the demo. If you can hear me, if you can hear me loud and clear, can you go ahead and raise your hand so I can get an idea? Wonderful, thank you. I am seeing a ton of hands go up. For today's session, we have everybody muted except for myself. For questions regarding anything, if you need me to slow down, if you want me to repeat a point, if you want me to go over something, or if you have any other kinds of questions, at the bottom of your Zoom application, click on that and you can submit questions to us throughout the webinar. Our panelists will be reading those questions and answering them as we go along, or pausing me so that I can answer them. Or we'll have a 15-minute session at the end of today's session to go over any other questions. But yeah, feel free to use that Q&A block to either get feedback or any kind of general questions. Again, my name is Tony Tran. I'm in the Contract Services Division within CPO. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And just to confirm, Desiree, can you see my screen?
Excellent.
Okay, good. Okay, so as you can see, this is the our web page, our homepage. It's located at dir.texas.gov. I wanted to go through a couple things on the homepage to have y'all be aware. At the upper right-hand corner here is a sign in button. It's the same as your sign into my DIR button from the previous website. Everything on the homepage, or at least in this top portion, will be static. Any page that you go to within the website, this top bar will always be there. So you can always access the sign into my DIR. This will have all the different portals that you may have access to. If you're a customer, you'll have access to the statement of work portal. You'll have your exemption request portal. For all other customers, you'll have your ITSAC portal if you're trying to submit IT staffing solicitations. The portal link is here. And for everybody, you have the Open Records Request portal, or the PIR portal. Once you go into that, you can submit that to our team. And then we have a few other portals for vendors, but for your purposes, you'll be looking at mostly these customer ones. If you have questions about gaining access or requesting credentials, you could either go into the portals and look for the request credentials there, or the forgot password button there. Or if you go to the bottom of the page, you will see resources. Most of the pages have resources for contact. And for any of the portal access questions, we have a identity support for portal access email inbox. If you send them an email, they will help you out. And we have a couple resources here, guides for some of the portals. It's been helpful for some of our users, so go ahead and check those out when you get a chance. At the top here, we also have events. This is our calendar of events. You can use that to see what events that we have coming up in the future. If you heard about our webinar today from the events calendar, then I think we're doing a good job. But you can see kind of all the things that we have scheduled going up. I did want to call out, we have our virtual summit next Thursday. So that is here on the calendar. You can go ahead and click on that and sign up if you are looking to learn a lot about our services here. Let me scroll back up to the top. We also have news. News is where we'll update either articles of relevance or news topics that we think will be helpful to our audience. Those will also show up on the homepage here in this carousel. You'll see if you scroll through, we'll have certain articles depending on things of interest. We also have a careers tab here. It's open positions here at DIR. If you're ever thinking about joining Team DIR, we will be posting all of our positions here. There's also an about DIR. If there's a litany of topics and things that is all about DIR, how we govern our policies, things like that. So if you ever want to know more about DIR, it is here. So let me go back to the homepage. I wanted to show you, as you scroll through, you'll see kind of, we wanted the homepage to be for anybody who's never been to DIR. So it has a lot of general information and has a lot of the pages that we designed for landing pages. So as you scroll through here, you'll see these customer pages, and we'll get into that more in just a bit. We have our information security. This is a big part of DIR, and you'll see a lot of resources in this section. As you scroll through, you'll see different types of services and solutions that's available to you. You'll also see some kind of communications, how to contact DIR. It's also in the footer here. If you see this contact DIR button, let's just go ahead and click on that. You'll see how you can send questions or feedback to DIR. You'll also see this is where we put more information on public information requests, and that just takes you to that same portal that I showed earlier. But if you scroll down, you'll see this web form for submitting questions, so you don't have to open up an email. You can send that in. Our Ask DIR team will be, they're constantly monitoring that inbox, and they really like the feedback whenever you send it in. And if you have any suggestions for revisions or topics of interest, things of that nature, go ahead and send it there, and they will take that feedback because they value it quite a bit. If you scroll back up here, I wanted to show you this link here, program area contacts. These are more individual contacts for different program areas or different divisions within DIR. If you open up any of these, you'll see some of our staff, either names or emails or team emails, but it just depends on what you're trying to contact us for. But there's a lot of folks here that will help you out. Okay, so let me go back to the homepage. So I explained most of the homepage. I wanted to also point out this mega menu here. You'll see that when you open these, and again, this will stay on every page of DIR. If you open these, you'll see a lot of quick links and resources. So this first tab is called IT Solutions and Services. That's if you're just starting off and you're just trying to get to a page of what products and services that we have. We have a variety of categories and things that we have available for purchase through DIR. I also want to point out, if you change over to this other tab here, program areas, you'll see the different program areas within DIR. So you have cooperative contracts, shared technology services for all your managed IT services. OCISO, Office of the Chief Information Security Officer, they have a lot of information on policy and guidance related to IT security. Our Texas.gov application, communications technology services, that's where you're going to get information on text and voice and data services. So there's a lot in each of these tabs. They're maintained by each of our program areas. So they have a lot of resources for your agency. You'll also see we have kind of like those landing pages that I was mentioning earlier. We do have it here in the mega menu. And again, we wanted one of the main focus points when we upgraded the website was to have links that weren't buried. We wanted things to be promoted higher. We wanted things to have higher visibility and the information to be a lot more accessible or easy to read. So you'll see that there's a lot of repetition of links, but I think that's a good thing that that you don't have to navigate our site and know specifically the path to get to a certain page that you're used to. Let's go over to the second tab here. We have all this policy and guidance pages or resources for you. So yeah, if you kind of check through this, you'll see all the different ways that DIR will support your agency when it comes to policy and guidance for your IT security and things of that nature. This third tab going across is the resource library. This is where all of our documents that's hosted on the website, those you can search through that. That's pretty self-explanatory. If you're looking for a specific document or resource that we have uploaded, that will be here in the resource library if you can't find it on the website. This tab here is a new concept. These are our IMA pages. We've created pages that's specifically catered to a certain type of customer. And I'm assuming we have lots of different customers today. So we have a page dedicated for state agencies, colleges or universities or our institutions of higher education, K through 12 school districts, which is part of local government, but we had that broken out into its own page. You have all your other local governments, cities, municipalities, things of that nature. And then organizations outside of Texas. You'll see a lot of resources of, if you are an organization outside of Texas, how do you participate under cooperative contracts? We will have a lot of information there. And then various other types of users that would be using our website, like your IRM or your ISO, or your accessibility coordinator. So again, a lot of resources. This last one is your search button. This is kind of, we're gonna get into this a lot near the end, but I just wanted to show that you do have a mega search button up here, and it will have various ways of searching through our website. And for the most part, you guys will be looking at these contracts and vendors tab. I'm gonna go ahead and close that. I'm gonna jump over to the state agency IMA page. Even though I know most of you may not be a state agency, but they do function in similar ways. So I will, let's just take a look at state agencies for now. So these landing pages for each of the customers has a lot of information, and it's a lot of quick links and resources for your purposes. So you're not having to jump all over the website. But for state agencies, institutions of higher ed or our colleges, and local government, you're required to take cybersecurity training on an annual basis. And depending on your contractor's access, they'll also have to take training. So I wanted to make a note that that we have a large button here that has a lot of resources related to cybersecurity training, either the statutes that guide it or kind of FAQs depending on your agency type. There's a lot of information out there, so go ahead and take a look. As you're scrolling through, a lot of these pages will have this kind of look and feel of these card blocks. These card blocks will have kind of like a small little excerpt of what you're looking for. And if you click on that, it'll go to its own dedicated page. And in general, I like to point everybody to the first card here, the Procurement Professional's Guide to DIR. It has a lot of information about how to procure through DIR, what purchasing thresholds there are depending on your agency type. We're hoping to have procurement templates out there as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. The procurement templates aren't available just yet, but we are working on that, and this is eventually where it's going to be. So as you'll see, as you scroll through, you'll see these thresholds that I was referencing earlier about for state agencies. You'll also see these resources here in the middle of the page. It has other links that would be relevant to your interests. We have these two down here is something that I want to point out. This is how you can subscribe to either our IT Sourcing Digest. If you didn't hear about the webinar, we did send a blast through our IT Sourcing Digest. This is where you can go in and register to get these weekly emails from our Chief Procurement Officer. He will update you on various topics of interest, especially things that he knows that are coming down the pipeline and that you and your agency need to be aware of. So you can register for that here. You also have these discussion groups for various topics of interest. If you click on that, you'll see there's these email groups that you can subscribe to, and those are constantly growing. So go ahead and take a look at that as well. And then we kind of go into some of the program areas that we have, and these are, again, advertised in multiple ways throughout the website. And that's that template section that I was referencing earlier. I'm going to scroll back to the top. And again, some of these are repeated on the previous pages. So I'm going to go back to the IMA page, and you'll see we have a card block on customer eligibility. If you're ever curious about all the different statutes that drive either what your definition of your agency is, or statutes that dictate who has to purchase through DIR, and some of these statutes that govern that, it will be found on this customer eligibility page. Okay. Buying through DIR, it just gives you kind of a basic rundown of how to purchase through our contracts, how to contact vendors and things of that nature. If you're a state agency, this is information for you about how to submit exemption requests. State agencies are required to purchase through DIR unless you have a valid exemption request. So there will be a lot of information here as well. We have a statement of work guides for state agencies to draft their statement of work. We also have a schedule of solicitation opportunities. So I wanted to slow down and take a look at this page. I see a couple of questions in our Q&A. Let me take a look at these, and hopefully I can answer some of these questions. Is this presentation being recorded, and will a transcript be available for later viewing? That is our intention. We do want to make this this webinar available for viewing on our YouTube channel. For contacting DIR to get login credentials, again, click on that sign in button and scroll to the bottom. You'll see that identity support email. You can send an email there for credentials, or if you go into the particular portal that you're looking for, you'll see how to request credentials there as well. I would actually recommend going through that path, because there might be other information that our IT department is looking for. That one's good. Where would education service centers fall under state agency or K-12? We are recognized as both. That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure. So that might actually be a question that we would have to escalate up to our legal to see where you guys fall under. But yeah, we'll get back to you on that one. I think the sign-in link might be broken. I clicked it and it just takes you to the DIR portal page. Yeah, and that's the intention. When you click on sign in, you'll see all the different portals. So it's really a landing page to get to the portal that you're looking for. So for instance, let's say we want to get to the ITSAC portal. If I click on that, it will take us to the home, the page where you can log into the ITSAC portal. And this is just for customers. And if you needed a login, this is where you could request those credentials. Okay. So that one's good. I create a master vendor list for my employees each month for every co-op we are in. Can you show me where to download in Excel a list of every vendor contract? And we will get to that. And in just a few, I will start getting into contracts and contract searching and those downloadable CSV files. So more to come in just 1 second. So I'm going to go back to our IMA page and kind of show you some of these other cards that's available. And again, they show up on all the other IMA pages depending on the type of page. This schedule of solicitation opportunities, formerly known as your current contracting initiatives. This is where DIR will regularly update solicitations that's in various phases. So either they're in the planning phase or they've been posted on the street for vendors to respond to. They could be in negotiation phase or evaluation phase, and eventually awarded or closed. So all of that information is here. And if you're ever curious about where a certain solicitation is at, you can always come back to here and check it out or contact the contract manager that's listed there. You'll see all these accordion style. If you open these up, you'll see a description of what the solicitation is and who to contact. And then various dates of when we think it's going to hit the street or not. And again, this page is always subject to change, just FYI. We also ask that our customers, if there's a particular product or service that you have a need for, communicate that to us. We have a new product service request form here. You could submit that information to our procurement office, and we will take that into consideration for future solicitations. So that is very powerful for you to be able to communicate directly to us of an immediate or a need that would be down the road for your agency. Okay. Okay. So we went through the schedule of solicitation opportunities. I wanted to also bring up bulk purchasing opportunities. So if you don't know, bulk purchasing opportunities are kind of temporary periods where we create a bulk purchase initiative that basically reduces the price for a product or service that's an immediate need. A good example is the pandemic. When the pandemic started, a lot of agencies needed laptops, hotspots, webcams, microphones, all that stuff. So we created these bulk purchase initiatives to meet that emergency need. So if you go out to this bulk purchasing page, you'll see a lot of information about why, from a first perspective, you can see kind of the benefits of going through a bulk purchase initiative. You can see the ones that's active as of now. We have two out there, this productivity one and productivity software and computer hardware. So be sure to check these out. Again, this helps. The legislation on September 1st actually expanded the use of bulk purchase opportunities from state agencies to all eligible customers. So again, be sure to check out this page and look into bulk purchase opportunities for your agency. Okay, let's go into. I'm going to go back to that IMA page. So we have some kind of general information about administrative fees, how we have those calculated. I wanted to showcase these three program areas here. So cooperative contracts is where you're probably going to be doing the majority of your purchases, but you'll find out everything about cooperative contracts on this page. This is kind of a newer concept that wasn't on the previous website, but we have these broad categories under cooperative contracts, be it hardware, software, technology services, or branded contracts. Each of these pages has a list of categories that's related to it. And let's just take a look. Like for instance, hardware. If I scroll down, I'll see these accordion styles of different categories that's offered on cooperative contracts. And if you open up any one of these, you'll see kind of the scope of the RFO as it was when it was released to the street. And then if you scroll down, you'll see a link for each of these RFOs of contracts that's active under that RFO. So if I click on this, you can see the search results will show there's 55 active contracts under this particular RFO. I did want to make a note for any of these RFOs, they're going to be written like very broadly of the type of product or service on there. The contract itself does not guarantee that they will have all of the products and services. So that's kind of where you have to go in and do that research and double check to make sure that, say, a particular contract offers fiber optic installation services, right? But yeah, that's kind of the way to start. And to kind of segue into the question that was posted in the Q&A earlier, this is where you'll see a list of all the results for contracts. So for this instance, we have 28 different contracts. If I click on this download results CSV, and again, this function is exactly the same as it was on our previous website. If you click on that, you'll get not only those 28 contracts, but for each of those contracts, if there are any number of resellers, you'll get those resellers information as well. Their contact information, whether or not they're a hub. But yeah, you'll get that information. But yeah, we'll get into that more in a little bit. Let me go back to this these category pages. So again, if you're on the co-op page, you'll see these kind of broader categories for how to search through RFOs and active contracts under those RFOs. And again, we're always awarding, we're always looking to move forward and keep up with the times. So that these pages will be updated on a regular basis. Going back to this IMA page, we have also communications technology services. This is where you're going to get information on text and voice and data. In this program area, you're going to have shared technology services. That's the managed services that would be available to your agency, depending on your agency type. You'll see DCS, managed security services, Texas.gov, and also our open data portal link is here. The open data portal is kind of where we push data sets. If you're ever curious about kind of different data sets that we have out there, plus any other customer that uses it, they also push out data sets to the open data portal. Okay, so we talked about the IMA pages, and again, depending on your agency, go ahead and take a look at these pages. They've kind of been catered. I do want to point out the organizations outside of Texas link. This has information of if you are an organization outside of Texas, how you can get an agreement to work with, to purchase through DIR. You really do need this ISC or interstate cooperative contract or agreement. A written and signed ISC will allow your state and your agency to purchase through DIR, and that does have to be in place. But you can also see a full list of all the ISCs that we have currently. It is sorted by state right now, and you can kind of see the different contracts that we have. Let's see. Let me pause and take a look at some Q&A. So this one is done. That's done. We are a nonprofit organization funded by government grants and state grants in Dallas. Are we eligible for the bulk purchasing opportunities? I will have to take a look because I need to see what type of organization you are and whether or not you're an eligible customer. But we will reach out to you after this webinar to get you your answer. Did I hear that bulk purchase is considered a temporary option? Where does it show on the website how the timeline for each bulk purchase opportunity lasts only so long? This will help us plan if we should leverage the bulk purchase opportunity or not. Let me go back to the bulk purchasing page. They do have a finite time to it, but those can always be increased. Let's take a look. We may not have the dates here, but they are here if you read through the bulk purchase agreement. But I will reach out to you after this, and I will hopefully start to update these pages with those dates, because they're not infinite, they're not perpetual. On the old side, I was able to view all ITSAC vendors on one page. Is that possible still, or can a list of ITSAC vendors be exported to Excel when searching a technology solution to see if it is available under DIR Cooperative Contract, Xerox? It may pull up the prime vendor. Is there a plan to link from the prime vector? So you have two questions there. For all ITSAC vendors, again, it's pretty nifty to be able to search by an RFO, but let's just go to the ITSAC page. If you scroll down here, you can see there's a link here for active IT staffing services contracts, and they're all awarded under this 445 umbrella. You can see that there's 161 active contracts for ITSAC services. If you click on this download results CSV, you'll get your list of all the contracts, all their vendor contract information, the DIR contract manager, and then any resellers that's on there. But I don't think there's any resellers on ITSAC, but in general, that is how that works. I'm not 100% sure if I understand your second question. So if you can expand on your question regarding prime vendors and resellers, I would like to see that. I think what you're asking for is, let's just say you're on a contract page, and this one is for Arnami Inc. If you scroll to the bottom here, you'll see resellers. This is where our resellers are listed. Because this is an ITSAC contract, there isn't any resellers, but in general, that's how you can get to a list of resellers. Okay, I think that's all the questions that I see. Let's continue on since we're at 2:33. I wanted to start getting into contract searching. So this mega button here has the way that you can access our search menu. You could either search one of two ways, either searching across all pages and content on the DIR website. So you'll get results that either match events or pages or contracts or vendors. It's going to be a combination of all of the above, right? So if you're looking for something in general, let's just say schedule of solicitation opportunities, you'll see that it starts to populate. If you just click on that, it will go to your results and you'll get to that page. So if you don't know the immediate link or where it lives, use the search button. It should give you how you can find those types of things. You'll see here that's also categorized by either a library resource item, a certain page on the website, or a news or event that has those search queries within it. So it's a pretty robust search engine for being able to find the things that you're looking for. The second way of searching, which I think will be more relevant to your interests, is the contracts and vendors page. If you click on this tab, and let's just say we look for Dell and hit search, you'll see that you'll come up with these three tabs across the top here. All results, which will combine everything from contracts and vendors. And then you'll also see a contracts tab that is only contract pages that have your search query in it. So for instance, Dell shows up on the Dell marketing contract page, pretty obvious. And then you go over to the vendors tab and you'll see vendors that have Dell on there, like Dell marketing. Dell Financial Services is something similar, but in general, you're going to be looking for this Dell marketing LP. We are working on a feature to add in contract documents as also a part of the results, but that is more to come. It will be able to search through the data that's within all of our contract documents. So if it's buried in some appendix somewhere, if you search on it, it should be able to find it. But there will be a separate tab for just that. And I wanted to also point out, when we're talking about those download CSVs, really the only places you're going to see it is on this contracts tab. Depending on the results, you will see this big download results CSV button here. And also, if you go into the contract page and scroll to the bottom and click on resellers, you'll also have a CSV here. And this will be resellers on this particular contract, not necessarily all of your results. You'll get that on the previous page, but here's where you can get your resellers for a specific type of contract. And since we're already on this contract page, I just wanted to show y'all a what information is on here. It's going to be very similar to the contract pages from before. So you're going to have your contract number, you're going to have vendor pages, and let's go ahead and click on that. You'll have links for each vendor, and you'll see on a vendor page, you'll get some basic information as to whether or not they're hub or not. But you'll also be able to see what contracts they are on as a prime and which contracts they're going to be on as a reseller. And right now we're kind of making refinements to these pages. Typically, if you see a contract link here, that means that that's an active contract. But if you see some blanks, we're just kind of working out some of those technical glitches. But in general, that's how if you know of a vendor that you're trying to work with, you can see all the various types of contracts that they've been awarded under. Let me go back to this contract page. So again, we have vendor ID, we have whether or not that vendor is a hub, we have the RFO that the contractor was awarded under, the contract status, which will be active. You have the vendor's contact information, their email address is here, their phone number and their fax number if we have it, and their vendor website. Searching through a vendor's website is also very key because a lot of their products and services may be maintained on the vendor side. So be sure to check those out whenever you're doing your research. We have two dates up here as well. We have a term date and we have an expiration date. A term date is the upcoming termination date for that contract. An expiration date is whether or not all renewal options have been executed. So for this instance, this Dell contract will be terminating on 2022, but we also could extend this contract, and then it will, and depending on how many renewal options there are, it could go as far out as 2024. So it's really important to make a distinction between those two dates, okay? And here we also have the Dir Contract Manager that's assigned to each and every contract that we have. You'll have their information as in their email and phone number if you have any questions regarding these contracts. You have a contract overview section that kind of briefly explains kind of the scope of this contract and things unique to it. As you scroll down, you'll see all the details related to the contract, products and services, the various products and services that's available or awarded under this contract. For you procurement professionals, you'll know that this is where our NIGP codes are, or our commodity codes. And you'll see that because this is the Dell contract, there's quite a bit on here. Brands, this is where you'll see all the various brands that have been awarded under this contract. And again, this is the Dell contract, so there's quite a bit, but that's anytime you search, let's just say you search for DDI Joy, 3DI Joy, that will pull up this contract page. Contract documents, this is where you'll be able to see all the contract documents that's associated with the contract, not only the contract itself or the RFO, but you'll also see all the appendices and amendments on this particular contract. So be sure to check those out. How to order is kind of going to be unique to this contract, but in general, you will be reaching out to the vendor's sales rep or their contract manager to start a purchase order. And then again, here's our list of resellers. And if you click on that CSV, you'll get a list of only those resellers. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to show on a contract page. Let's take a look at some of the Q&A and see if there's any other questions I can answer. If you search Xerox under contracts and vendors, it pulls up an entry for Xerox. It says that Xerox is a prime vendor. Is there a plan to link from this page to the reseller of that technology solution? And the Xerox example, DIR resellers also pulls up, but sometimes the DIR contract with the reseller doesn't pull up in the results. I might have to take a look at that specific example. So we're talking about Xerox. Let's just go ahead and take a look.
She said you answered her question.
Oh, okay, great. Then great. Have you crosswalked the NIGP codes to each vendor's services? I'm not sure what crosswalk means in this example. If you can expand on that. I did want to show there is a way to search for just NIGP codes. So if you expand this search by, you can choose specifically commodity code. And let's just use 208-93 as an example. That is not the right example. 209.28, sorry. You'll see all the contracts that have that specific commodity code on there. And again, if you tab over to the contracts page, you'll be able to download results of that. And again, you can search by just 209, so you'll get all NIGP codes that start with 209. Or you can search by the actual name or field associated with that NIGP code. But this is pretty powerful. You can also search by a variety of other ways, but in general, I like to keep it with all so I can see all the different types of results. You'll also see these kind of filters here. You'll see commodity codes that's available across all the results that you had just pulled up. Hub types, you can either filter it by either where the vendor themselves is a hub or not a hub. It does not filter out resellers on that contract. So like in our example of Dell is not a hub contractor, but their resellers may be. So if you filtered it by hub, you wouldn't, or non-hub, you would not see the Dell contract. Brands, here's all the various brands that's showing up in the results. And then categories, those products and services, as I showed earlier. And then you have sorts here as well. You can sort by relevance, contract number, vendor name, or hub type. Let's see. So we went into vendor pages. We talked about CSV downloading, searching through various contracts, filters, and commodity codes. Let's go back to the Q&A and see if there's anything else. Will you go through the larger search using the NIGP categories for all DIR contracts? The larger search using the NIGP codes categories for all DIR contracts. I'm not really sure I understand this question. Larger search. I may have just answered the question by just showing you how to search by NIGP codes. But if you can clarify that question, that'd be great. Can a list of the approved vendors be printed by alphabetical order along with contract numbers? Sure. If you download the results, it'll actually, I don't remember what the default sort is on the CSV file, but you'll have to play around in Excel and have it sorted by alphabetical order. But I'm kind of not really clear on what you mean by approved vendors. I'm assuming vendors that show up in the search result is what you're going for there. Let's see if there's any other questions. This one's answered. Downloading a CSV list of DIR contracts under a particular category or multiple categories. I think you may have covered it. Yes. Depending on what you're searching for, that's how you're going to get your results to show up. Some of the future enhancements that I've been thinking about is searching by multiple. If this is your question, but like multiple NIGP codes, like searching for all contracts that have NIGP codes that are either 208-93 or 201-75, something like that. Right now, we don't have those operators, so you might have to just search through it one by one and download those results out. But that is something that I've seen that is a function or a feature that people have asked for. So I think that would be a good thing to add. How long will expired contracts be available under the site? So expired contracts is something that is a work in progress. Initially, we wanted to have expired contracts as a feature on the website, but I think there's a few technical glitches of of either information related to an expired contract or the contract documents themselves. So right now we're trying to disable expired contracts until that time, and I will try to update whenever all of that is resolved. But in general, the idea is that we wanted expired contracts to be available so that, let's just say 3 years down the road, you wanted to get the contract documents for contract number XYZ, whatever. And on our old website, we weren't displaying expired contracts for fear that people would try to order off of expired contracts. But if we manage it in a certain way, or if we display expired contracts in a certain way, that will help alleviate a lot of those concerns. For now, I ask if you're needing access to expired contracts or details regarding an expired contract, send an email to our Ask DIR. You can get to there from the contact page. That will send an email to our team, and then they can pull those contract documents for you. But at some point, we do hope that they show up on the site. But there's some technical glitches there. So thank you for that question. I think that's good. That's good. That's very helpful. Thank you. Your contracts request Edgar certification compliances. So Edgar, if we go back to, let's just say, the school districts, because Edgar is very unique there. You'll see that we have a page dedicated to Edgar, however you want to pronounce it, E-rate and EP. If you click here, you'll get more information on that program. And we do have kind of contracts that's tagged with E-rate. I'm not 100% sure on Edgar. We might have to get back to you on that question. But I believe we have indicators on some contracts for E-rate. I'm not so sure about Edgar, so we'll get back to you on that question. Okay. I think that's all the questions that I see. If you have any questions, go ahead and submit them. I think I've answered everything else as best as I can. Otherwise, we'll go back and review these questions that you've submitted and make sure that these answers are sent out. Any other questions? Go ahead and use that Q&A. We have 11 minutes back on the clock. If not, I hope that the website is making your jobs easier. I hope that the website is making it clear for you as to what DIR does or what it has to offer your agency. We definitely made it so that we think that this information can be much more accessible to our audience. I did want to make a note because we have some state agencies and institutions of higher ed customers on the line today. But as you know, recent legislation was passed regarding RAMP certification related to cloud services and products. Our policy and guidance section under OCISO, either here or on the IT solutions for the program area of OCISO, we will be releasing guidance and policy related to RAMP certifications. What does that mean for our vendors? What does that mean for our customers who's affected? How to search for those types of certifications. We have a lot of information coming on that very soon, and those things will take place at the beginning of next year. So be sure to keep an eye out, and we will be blasting that correspondence as far out as we can. But it will be affecting our state agency and college or university customers. I think that's all that I wanted to get into. Again, if you have any questions, use our Ask DIR. If you have any feedback on the website, that would be greatly appreciated. If you have suggestions for enhancements or changes to make on these IMA pages, again, we made these pages for you as an audience. So we are always open to feedback, and we are always open to making things more efficient for you. Again, thank you again for joining us today. We're gonna try to get this webinar posted. I think this was pretty resourceful, and again, thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoy your afternoon.